Hi, my name is Liam, and I'm a 17-year-old female-to-male transgender, and this is my story. From day one, I was pushed in the direction of living a feminine life. From being put in dresses to being given Barbies and other girly toys, I was told that I was a girl because that's what body I was born into. Naturally, I believed that I was in fact a female because I didn't know any better. There were signs that pointed to gender variance, even as I was a youngster. I found myself in the company of boys more than anything, and I strove to be one of the guys. I did things most boys love to do, like playing in the mud, picking up bugs, etc. When I entered daycare, I gravitated more towards the boy toys than the girl toys, although occasionally I would play with toys meant for little girls. I even went as far as telling one of my friends that I was a boy, and which she promptly replied, "You have long hair, so you're obviously a girl." At that time, we didn't understand gender identity or anything of the sort, so of course we just went with society taught us. In 4th grade, a female friend of mine began wearing boys' clothes. I thought it was cool, so I begged my mom to buy me some masculine clothing. She bought them, unknowingly fueling a fire that would burn in me for years. I dressed in these outfits, finding them to be the most comfortable things I'd ever worn. I wore boys' clothes for months. This period of time didn't last long, though. It was the time right before middle school in 5th grade that I began to dress more feminine so I could fit in. I wasn't happy, but I pretended to be. During this time, I began to have serious behavioral problems that would gradually get worse over the years. As my body changed with puberty, I was not excited to watch these changes occur. I couldn't quite understand where these feelings of disgust were coming from, and I couldn't put a name to them. My relationship with my mom soon began to deteriorate, and my friends began pulling away from me as well. I tried so hard to fit in as the girl I thought I was, but I was miserable. All throughout middle school, I had outbursts and was almost constantly depressed, although at the time I didn't know what depression was. My mental state was in a rapid downward spiral, and it seemed nothing could fix it. My disgust with myself and my body increased as time went on, but I didn't know how to articulate or even explain the feelings I had. Therefore, I kept them bottled up inside, and they were like a poison eating away at my body. It was then in the summer after 9th grade that I was introduced to the concept of being transgendered. I watched a movie called Boys Don't Cry, and I was quite surprised at how closely I related with Brand and Tina. I had never even given the thought that I could be male until then. I began to do research on being transgendered, and suddenly I could put a name to the feelings I had. I was dysphoric of myself because I felt like I was in the wrong body. I felt a sort of relief, realizing that I was a male all along, but how would I tell my parents who believed their daughter identified as female? I sat down in front of the computer and began to compose a long letter to my father. After hours of typing and revising, I'd finally had a satisfying coming out letter. I stuck it in his shoe for work early the next morning. The entire day I was on pins and needles. I didn't know how he'd react to the fact that his daughter was not his daughter after all. His response was the one I'd been dreading, and a bit worse than expected. He shouted hurtful things at me. We stood in the kitchen face to face. He screamed at me, and I cried in response. Towards the end of that horrible evening, I called my mom in a flurry of tears, explaining to her what I'd done, and she too denied that I was transgendered. She used religion as her weapon, saying that God doesn't make mistakes. She said she'd continue to love me, but wouldn't support me being transgendered. It hurt badly because both my parents had rejected the idea that I was a male in a female's body. I asked to get my hair cut. My dad refused, so I cut my hair myself. I did a pretty good job of cutting my hair short that was already in a pixie cut. It was in a more masculine style. I also began to bind and piece together a few masculine clothing items so I could appear more like a male. My dad and I had to make a trip to Virginia that week, and during that time I passed as male for the first time ever. Over the next few weeks after my coming out, my dad began to open up a bit. He even took me shopping for school clothes and willingly bought me masculine clothing and shoes. I was extremely happy, and I started school the very next week. Absolutely no one recognized me, and some of my friends even thought I was a cisgendered male. I eventually talked to them and came out to them as transgendered. Over the next few months, I faced depression and rejection and wound up hospitalized twice due to depression. I tackled these obstacles, and I continued to live openly as a transgendered male for 9 months until I allowed my mom's religious views to pressure me back into identifying as a female. It was then that I began suffering from depression worse than before. I found myself hospitalized 3 times over a year's time. My true identity was hidden. However, in the summer of last year, I realized that I had to be myself once more, and I came out as transgender again. My mom blamed my decision to be transgender on the fact that I'd gotten emotionally hurt by someone. I didn't care what she said and continued to identify as male. My behavioral issues almost ceased to exist during this time period. Then, after a few months, I changed abruptly back to female, and once again I became unhappy with myself and was miserable. I changed for other people, and now I know I can't do that. I am Liam. I am male. I know that, and nothing will change me.